My self-reflection on this course was enlightening and eye-opening. I considered myself to be a diverse individual prior to taking this course. After taking this course, I think well-versed is a more accurate term than diversified. Due to my work and my school schedule, I don't get out very often, plus my children. So most of my friends are via the internet, or virtual friends, so to speak, which has allowed me to see the world from here in Wisconsin. I have friends in Australia, I have friends in the UK, South Africa, all over the USA. I can't think of a state that I don't know somebody in. So that has allowed me to be well versed. I understand slang terms from other areas. I can understand UK narration. Most Americans have a hard time understanding their accent. It's not difficult for me anymore because I've spent quite a bit of time speaking with people from the UK. I think the thing that hit me the hardest, that I identify with the most, I don't want to say identify with, but the thing that hit me the hardest in this course was that were actual laws, policies, and procedures put into place to stop people of color from obtaining a mortgage. That is mind-blowing to me. Growing up my whole life, I grew up in the inner city of Detroit, so it was a perverse area, and I've always heard the white man this, the white man that. So I grew up seeing some poverty, not as much as is really out there, but I did get a good glimpse of some. I never thought that things were as bad as they were. Ignorance is bliss has been, I've said to myself several times during this whole course, because I just didn't know. I don't think it's bad that I didn't know. I mean, our parents, it's their job to protect us, whether it be from physical, emotional, spiritual. They protect us, they shelter us. They don't want us to know what's really out there in the big, mean, scary world, which is a good thing to an extent. Being sheltered also doesn't give you proper preparation for what you're going to see, hear, and come in contact with. The term Americanization really hit me pretty hard as well. I knew what Americanization was, I knew what it meant, but again, I didn't realize how deep it dove. I didn't realize that most immigrants lose a lot of their culture and their history and their core values that make them whatever culture they may be. I didn't realize how difficult it was for someone to immigrate here and having to leave their whole life that they've carried in their heart back in whatever country they came from. I can't imagine leaving everything you've ever known in hopes for something better and not being able to take what's in your heart with you for fear of judgment or from being judged, from being hurt. It's heartbreaking and mind-boggling. Class ceiling is another term and another thing that hit pretty hard as well. I've always heard, seen my whole life, you'll see someone in a position at a company, he's been there for 35 years. Sure, he's gotten an annual raise, or she, rather. Sure, she's gotten an annual raise with her annual review, but no matter how great her review is or how big her raise is, she's just stuck in that position, not able to progress anymore. Why? Because she is a woman, capable, strategic, poses a lot of benefits, but because she is a female, she's glass ceilinged in this position with no way to move forward. I know that in Hollywood, A lot of women are pretty sexualized in order to move forward. Having sex with your director is normal. Harassment to achieve greatness is expected. It's gross. It's very gross. The fact that women have been sexualized for so many, many years and that's became normal is gross. And I never even realized that the content that I was seeing, commercials, women half naked on cars, whatever the case may be, there's so many examples I can dive into, were a form of sexualization. They were normal to me because I'd seen them my entire life. Now I've noticed that the sexualization of men with content towards women or products towards women is becoming more common, also normalized, and it's gross. If you have a good product, the product should be able to sell itself. You don't need to exploit an individual, male, female, transgender, it doesn't matter. There should be no exploitation of an individual to sell your product. Your product should be able to sell itself, or you should be able to market your product to sell itself. You shouldn't need a pair of boobs or an insanely large penis to sell your product. So this class overall has taught me quite a bit. A lot of things that are normalized in society that should not be normal, should not be accepted, but they're tolerated and they're expected. Whether it be with minorities and segregation or sexualization. Both of these are huge issues that have seemed to be normalized over time. I do believe and have seen that racial segregation has gotten better in some parts, but we still have a lot of work to do. And I do agree with the anti-racial campaign. I don't want to call it a campaign, but the anti-racial message. It's not enough to just not be racist anymore. My oldest son is of mixed race, and I was definitely blinded by how much racism was still out there until my son started to grow up and we were exposed more to the world. I have had to go full mama bear and ready to fight over my child and him being singled out because he's brown. And he's not a brown child to me. He's my oldest child. And sure, he does wrong, but it's definitely not because he's brown. It's because he's a learning child. So this course has been very eye-opening for me, very significant. I'm not sure what I thought I was getting into when I signed up for this course, but I am so glad that I took this course and was able to learn what I was able to learn. I am excited to take it with me moving forward professionally and through my education. I'm excited to share some insight with other people that may be ignorant like I was before this course, and hopefully, I don't think I'm going to change the world. I'm not that impactful, but one small movement can definitely make a huge wave, and hopefully I can initiate a couple waves that change things, especially here in our small town. It would be nice to see some big changes and some waves made. People need to be uncomfortable to grow, and I think it's time that we make the uncomfortability and instill the change. So overall, great course, 10 out of 10, completely recommend. I think it should be required as a basic prerequisite because you don't know until you know, and you won't know unless you're exposed. And this course was amazing exposure and great food for thought. So thank you.